it gets to a point, like I remember, like fresh during the breakup, I sent a message like, hey, we had something good going. Hopefully we can mend it. And, you know, but then I quickly snapped out. After sending the text, I was like, yo, niko na wewe juu ya M-Pesa. Like Z.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this episode of The Crib Shit Part 2. We're still discussing co-parenting. I'm here with Chim and Rama. And from our previous show, let's continue from where we left off.
Welcome back to our channel. I have a very pressing question. Rama, let me ask you, is there like divorce stigma for women? Not for women, sorry. Is there divorce stigma for men?
People might pretend that it's not there, but it is heavy. I think divorce stigma for men isn't so much what people are saying, the chit chatter around you. It's more like the things people withdraw from you.
That's interesting.
Okay. So I realized, like, when I was in a relationship, raising a family, and then when I became a single dad, that people stop engaging with you, not just on the socials. You know, like you have your friends who are still in relationships thinking maybe you'll influence them in a negative way. So they pull out kidogo, they pull back kidogo. I've had instances where the benefit of doubt I used to be given is withdrawn. So now people start thinking you're a stupid man because you walked out of something. Okay. And they don't have the backstory to it. So it just feels like, kwani honi trust you? Don't you just believe because that? Don't you believe that I made a good decision for myself? I mean, what do you know about it? So you have instances where you express something that you could have expressed before and gotten the benefit of doubt. Now, if I say some things, ni fujo makelele tu. There's things I know I can't say. I can't talk about some things as openly as I used to talk about the same things when I was in a relationship. Yeah.
Okay. So let's wait to your opinion, sort of. So co-parenting is it's relatively new. I feel like in the olden days, people didn't used to co-parent. People used to separate, unaenda na mzazi moja, and that's the end of things. Yeah. So what's your experience with co-parenting and how society looks at it in this day and age?
I think society is the same. Because the more things change, the more things stay the same. So if you have a personality that's judgmental, whether you were born in 1950 or 2023, you'll still judge people for things you don't understand. Okay. So I'll give it that. I would say, in terms of co-parenting, for people who get it,
they get it.
They get it. Yeah. For other guys, we're still a largely conservative society. In as much as sometimes we look at Nairobi and think Nairobi is Kenya.
No, it's not.
We're very conservative as a society. So when you bring up some things like co-parenting, guys are like, okay, so how did you end up with someone you can't live with?
I think even my uncle told me, you remember? My uncle just asked me, yo, why aren't you just with her?
Yeah.
Why aren't you just with her? Just marry her at this point.
Marry her.
There's a lack of understanding.
And then muishi na hizo mashida zenye. But as long as we are satisfied, as long as we are satisfied, that this is what... You see, a lot of people actually react. And that's why I keep saying, if you look at my comment section sometimes when I post content, it's just projection. People react to things they don't understand, and they react based on their experience, not yours.
Yeah.
So someone come to you and talk to you about some things, but then they're not seeing stuff from your experience. Them, niko na kitu ya kusema and I don't care what you're saying. I'll just say it. Yeah. That's been my experience. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to throw a curveball.
Yeah.
So baby trapping.
Yes.
Chim has come out on the show and said he felt baby trapped at some point in time. So, have you ever felt or been actively baby trapped? And 2, would you say that is something that happens
I think
in
you should start
society?
by defining
No, but
what
define
baby
it.
trapping
Okay, fine.
is.
Define it then, because
baby trapping to me, in summary, is, you know, when people say niko na Safaricom juu ya M-Pesa. That to me is baby trapping. So you and guys do it, by the way. Even men do it. You know, there's guys who want access to you.
Yeah. So they give you a kid
for your whole life.
Yeah.
So they'll give you a toy.
Yeah.
To
I've
make
had
sure
that one.
that you're always
in their
they're
life.
always in your in your life, and you're always in their life. Because see, babies are permanent, and they'll outlive both of you. Anyway. Yeah. And baby trapping to me, like, I've experienced it in, I wouldn't say I had a baby, but I've been scammed before.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to be baby trapped. You know, there's a thing, and that was back in the day, and you know, I think I was too naive because I confessed to the scam to someone I was dating, or my ex. You know, someone I was seeing before I started dating her seriously, and then this person, because we were sneaky links. They disappeared from the scene for like 3 months, and then they come out later and they're like, hey, I'm pregnant and I don't want to keep it.
Oh, that's come for help me deal with the situation.
So nataka kwenda huko Marie, why stop?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Certain places.
That's a good one.
So me, I was like, you know, I've just started working. I have planned out my life for the next 5 years, and at no point did I see a toy.
Yeah.
So I asked her, like, you know, it's your body. If you don't want to keep the baby, and me as a man, I'm not ready to be a dad at this point in time. I know I'll be a good father. How do you suggest we deal with things? Like, send me 12 G's. Nikafanya maneno. Yo siku by the way, acha nikwambie. Mimi nimeitishwa 12, I'm thinking it's premium. That's premium. Unajua? Premium, no complications. Yo siku pesa ilikuwa inanisumbua because I was single, you know, everywhere. I sent her the chums, but then I lived with the guilt for a while until during the pandemic. And I linked up with one of my boys, and he was like, bro, remember that time ule dem alikwambia kona ball ukatuma do tulikunywa hiyo pesa.
Yeah, that's not your boy.
No. Back then he wasn't. Back then we weren't that close.
Oh yeah. So
when later on, he found out the story from her later on.
Okay.
Because I think they were in the same campus or something.
What the fuck? Yo, let me tell you the truth. Huh?
Fair women.
Women can smell responsibility, because I don't have these problems. Me straight up. It sounds cliche, but me usually tell shorties, yo, you look like you'll make a perfect single moms, yo. And I vanish. It's despicable. But I always say this. I used to be a fuckboy. Yeah. I didn't really care about, I actually really did not care about, like a woman coming and telling me, yo, I have a child. The one time that happened, it rocked me. After that, I'm saying, that sounds like a you problem. So how are you gonna deal with it?
Okay. Yeah. So no, you're here. I mean, baby trapping is somebody ideally telling you that they want you to take responsibility and you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Or that they're on the pill. Shoot up the club.
You know, like I said, they tried.
They tried.
They scammed me. Because me, by the way, you know what? If, like I said, you know, the plans don't change just because you've changed. If the ship is going in this direction, please just stay on the ship. If you can't jump off, ni sawa tu. Kulona sharks shauri yako. Mimi nilikusho naenda hivi. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you're here. The kids are here. You decided you're getting married. It's not worked out. It's time to co-parent.
Yeah.
Was it a series of conversations that it's not working out, and what are the next steps? Or, you know, what was that process for you?
The breakup or the co-parenting conversation?
The co-parenting. The breakup is, I understand.
The co-parenting conversation wasn't going. And, you know, so a lot of times when you break up with women, it's like the man they saw in you has disappeared. So now just because you've broken up, you start assuming I'm not going to take care of my responsibilities. Because they punish you and they want to see the worst. Because when they leave, you think, you're never going to do it without me. You're never going to be...
It's punishing you almost like for killing the man they had idealized.
Yes. And you see, there's a difference between men and women. When I vibe a babe, I vibe the babe who's in front of me, the one I'm seeing right now.
Okay.
As is.
When women...
I vibe you, your future, the potential.
Babes are seeing that guy 10 years from now. So it's like, if someone was to sell you a diamond and then they bring the diamond straight from the mine, iko na mchanga, but that's what babes see.
Yeah.
Mimi naona hii ni mchanga ama hii ni diamond. There's no in between. I can clean this thing up. Naweza isafisha. I don't have the equipment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have the equipment. So when it comes to co-parenting, it's the same thing.
We don't have the capacity.
I don't have the facilities. I don't have the capacity. I'm sorry. But to your point, co-parenting to me was never something I'd say that was in doubt. We didn't even have that conversation. It was just like, me, I need to see my kiddos. It was a no-brainer. If you're leaving, me, I've broken up with you. I haven't broken up with my kids. So wherever you utafanya, me sijui. You'll have to show me where you live, whether you like it or not, because I have to pick those kiddos. We'll have to share some of the responsibilities of raising those kids. How we're going to do it, we are going to tweak it as we go along, because they have different needs at different stages. So I'm not going to say, ati sasa, mindalipia easy. What if cost yangu inaenda na yako ni constant? Mine is just rising. And we had these children. Yeah, we had these children under the agreement that we'll both take care of them. So if we're both working, it means a majority of our time goes to our employer, not the kids.
Yeah.
So you can't come and say, I'm emotionally
unavailable.
We're both unavailable. Yeah.
Let me segue in something. With something that we were talking about off camera. Yeah. My question was, what are your thoughts on, as the father of your kids, being responsible for vetting whomever she gets serious with?
I would say I can only advise. Because you see, have you ever tried advising people who are in love?
No, you can't.
You can't. First, women are very stubborn, even when they're not in love. If you're not dating or you guys don't have any relation, very stubborn people. They don't listen to anyone. I would say the only reason I would want to have a say in who my ex, if we're co-parenting, is dating seriously and long term is because my kids will be around that person. And if anything ever happens to my kids, because of that person, I'll hold both of them accountable. I won't say it's you, that guy. Labda ni mshoot alafu ni deal na wewe. Yeah. But that's the only reason I'd want the input. I'm not, but if you have a poor choice in men, that's it. And rock yourself. Anda vunjo roho. Ivunjike kama zile vikombe za wageni. Vunja kabisa. That's your problem.
Okay.
Yeah. There's someone here who me personally, we've had this conversation. Me, I told that person, who shall remain unnamed.
That's the thing about babes.
And, I told the person I'm discussing, I told her, listen, I'm going to have a say in who you get serious with. Not because I'm cock blocking or anything like that. Not because I still have any emotions invested. But I've seen your taste in men.
Included.
And your taste in men has been terrible. So I have to protect my children from being around who I used to be.
Yeah.
Right? And unlike you, who's very, very gracious, I usually say this. I'm not going to debate with you. I mean, that person. I'm not debating with that person because I know I can't get through to them I've seen them when they're in love and I can't get through to them. Oh, jamanda mpiga ka burkenge. Ukileta ujinga around my children na kugonga bwana, nangoa meno.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, because I cannot have my son and my daughter around someone who is doing the most. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with someone who is just here for fun times. Be you. Do you. But the minute you're here for fun times and you're using promises that touch on tomorrow, And you see, for women, once we go beyond today, checks into tomorrow, she begins to calculate around
next week.
Next month becomes, how can I bring my kids around this situation?
Yeah.
And if I can't, trust me, the bros will gnaw all your teeth.
Okay. Yeah. Violence aside.
No. It's not violence.
Okay, so it is promise of violence.
Understand something, and I need to say this very, very clearly. The promise of violence is what keeps bad men in line.
And away.
I like that.
Okay.
You know, like, you see, and I'll be honest, I don't keep tabs on who my exes date and who they go out with. But if that person comes around my kids, you're responsible for anything that happens to them. So I have to come in and say, hey, listen, you can make your poor decisions. That's your problem.
Yes.
Because you bear the cost of that. But if you get your heart broken and my kids get their heart broken, then my kids have to deal. I have to
deal with my kids' heartbreak.
Yeah. I have
and
to deal with that.
Before they are ready.
And before, I mean, like, bro, like, listen, just please don't introduce my kids to people I don't know. That's my policy.
Okay. Yeah. So if an ideal time would be you to be introduced to the
I mean, you guys can link up whatever.
No. Yeah. Before, when it's becoming serious, so they're introduced to you before they introduce the kids.
I mean, see, I'm the one who made the kids. So if you're coming to act like a
dad
there, step in. At least I should know who you are. Like, but I don't need to meet you. She just needs to tell me, hey, listen,
by the way,
I've met this guy.
Yeah, we are different.
And I like him. And to tell me to not just suck because you're long term. And see, women are creatures of patterns. So I'll say, you know, long term can be anything, 5 years. And it's not forever. Because if a babe can't do more than 7 years with anybody, you're not special.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not special. You see, there's a problem. And that's the thing I have to be honest. And this is something I'm realizing because now in my dating pool, single mothers are included. And the worst thing that can ever happen to you is finding out that there are niggas who left this babe were actually right. Realizing. Ati awase walishia, they were right. Inakugonganga ka train. Unokacha nipigie hao mahomies manze tuende bia. Niulize niaje pia wewe. Pia wewe.
Oh God.
But it's true. It's like I think it applies to men as well. Like if you find out a guy who has children has done something to you and like you start noticing patterns like hey, say I'm moving the same way. And you realize you aren't special. You know, you want to call up all his exes like pia wewe. You know, what? Even me. Same.
Hey, there we are different.
There
we are different. Mine is very, very simple.
Yeah.
And I was saying this off camera again. Our daughter is a lot like me, and she is daddy's girl. My daughter is a lot like me, and she's daddy's girl. And my daughter usually comes to report certain parties. So my daughter will say things like, "Papa, I saw someone happening to kiss a different person." Yeah. And when my daughter does that, for me, it becomes concerning because at this point I'm realizing, actually, we had a conversation. Why am I saying someone? We had a conversation. And I remember telling you, you realize the kids see a lot more than we think they do.
Yeah.
And they realize far more than we think they do. Yeah. Right? And I remember saying this as a rule that you were arguing and complaining about, you were angry about. But as a rule, I said, look, ultimately, I don't care who you're dealing with. I do not care who you're seeing. I do not care for the nature of the relationship. However, when we get to the point where now you're looking at long-term being where the kids might begin to see this person, I have to sit down with them. And whereas you're like, it'll happen. I'm more direct about it because I'm like,
I think mine is situational. I get you. If you see, you guys are in a position where you can sit down like this.
Yeah.
I don't have that privilege at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe it will come somewhere along the line, Uko, when the emotions die down from being angry at each other. Maybe there's it'll reach a point where me and my ex can sit down and chat like this, can be in the same room and there's no static. Like, hey, what the, you know? But for me, because I'll hold her responsible for whatever happens to my kids when that guy is around.
Yes.
I still have to have a say. And that's not to say, like, if it happens, I'll react. Your violence. That violence will show up. Because I can be violent as well. And me, I don't fight fair. I don't have the muscles to fight fair.
No one fights fair when their kids are involved.
I don't have the muscles to fight fair. So if anything happens to my kids, you both have to be accountable for whatever happens.
Okay.
And I need to just say something from a previous conversation. You guys need to understand something. When we talk about things from this perspective, this isn't the wrong perspective. I don't care if your father is fucking Atwoli. I don't care. I shouldn't be saying names. I don't care who the fuck your father is. Yeah. Ultimately, when you're dealing with a man and his children, I cannot emote like you.
Yeah.
And you cannot kosoa me for reacting as a man. Because my job is what?
Protector, provider.
Exactly.
Okay.
I provide and I protect. Right? Regardless of whether or not you agree with that, it is who I am and it is in my nature. And it's also why I keep saying, for men, yeah? And I'm saying this as a former fuckboy. For men, do not get involved with a single mother without being clear about your intentions.
Yeah.
Because so help you God, mkipatana tenda na mtu flani, my friend, you will collect your teeth from the floor. Na si ati emotions ama anything. It's simply that your well-being impacts my children's well-being. You'll tell me they're ours. They're ours, but they're mine now. It impacts my children's well-being. And I'm not going to play games about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly.
That's true. Also, I won't take your word for it. If you tell me he's a
nice guy.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're on Delulu mode half the time. No, why would I believe you when you say he's a nice guy when you're on your Delulu mode?
Kwanza you fell for me. Delusional.
No, why would I believe you?
Okay.
He's nice to you.
Yeah.
Is he nice to kids? Like my kids. He may be nice to his kids. Maybe if he has kids. But
nice
is he nice to my kids?
Will he be nice to my kids once you guys have your kids?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just brought up something. Provision, protection. Let's discuss provision.
Yeah.
Of course, we can't get into the particulars of these are exactly the bills I'm paying and this is exactly the bills she's paying.
Yeah.
But what does provision look like in a co-parenting situation? Because, when you're a single parent, all of it is on you.
Yeah.
So what does it look like in a co-parenting situation?
When you're co-parenting, provision is making sure your kids get everything they need. And it's not, because the cost will always change. But I know if my kids are going to school, they need shoes for school. If they're learning, they need books. If I need to call them, at some point, I can't keep calling them on their mother's phone. At some point,
They'll need a phone.
They'll need a phone. Yeah. And that phone is not my cost. Because if they come to live with me,
they will need a phone.
They'll need a phone. And I won't ask you to buy a phone. So provision is basically, in my view, in my opinion, in my experience, is making sure your kids are well equipped for life when they're adults and they can thrive when you're gone. Because it's normal for kids to outlive you as a parent.
Yeah.
So you want to set them up early enough, you want to set them up well, and you want to give them everything they need to be successful, thriving humans when they're adults.
I'd say this. Provision, yes, don't get me wrong, the financial provision is ultimately important. It is. But it goes beyond that. And why I say it goes beyond that is we had a conversation with some of my friends.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're from a single parent household, but
I am. So.
And one of the truths is, as a man growing from a boy, you will want to know your roots.
Yeah.
You'll want to go back home.
Yeah.
And one of the most difficult things that happened growing up was not knowing who you're, like guys are talking about, you're my dad, my dad. I don't have anything to say.
That sense of identity was
exactly.
It's just exactly.
Something like that. Another thing is, provision is, you see, women usually take provision to mean, this guy gave me chums. Right?
Actually, that's, even when
you
you
and
ask,
I used to
how
have
much?
issues where, back in the day, I used to tell you, yo, me, I'll give chums and that's enough.
Yeah.
Kweli rongo.
Okay.
There was a gap. Right? And we used to see it because our son, this is my fault. I own up to my faults. Our son used to have a tough time letting go of me because he didn't fully know. He didn't fully know. Yo, let me stop bullshitting. Our son had a problem because he didn't know when was the next time he'd see me.
Yeah.
So he'd have a problem letting go. That is no longer the issue because now he knows, ultimately, you and I don't have a problem where, even when I travel, when I traveled Kidogo, I'll call. When you're saying that you don't call her line, I'm saying, may I call her line?
May I call? Okay, call her line.
Yeah.
But see, it's a situation where you have static. You're like, okay, on a Wednesday, because I call my kids on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And I call them on Sundays sometimes when they're not with me. It's like, if she's working, she's not in the house.
Yes.
You know, sometimes, when you've broken up, sasa, why do I need to explain?
Yeah.
Simu itaring tu nailenga.
Yeah.
We are still in that place.
Okay.
Tujatoka hapo bado.
Hatujatoka
When
bado.
you say like kuna purgatory alafu ndo uende heaven ama uende
I
hell.
know a place.
We're in that place still.
And this is where, again, I will give you your flowers. Like, in all honesty, I do know where you're coming from. I see it among some of my friends. And we used to experience that static.
Yeah.
I will give you your credit in the sense that you were the first one out of that space. But she was the first one out of that headspace. Then she allowed me to sniff out my asshole for a bit. And I pulled my head out of my asshole and we moved in that direction. Yeah. It'll be censored, guys. It'll be censored. You're getting what I'm saying, yeah?
Yeah.
And I am grateful for that. That said and done, this is now where we segue into dating. And I'll tell you why we are going to segue into dating from here. You used to be a huge stumbling block for me in a lot of my relationships. Because the women used to know, ultimately, especially, I have a special needs kid. And my special needs kid is very attached to her. Actually, he used to be very attached to her. So I used to know, right off the jump, there is absolutely nothing I can do to put her in the frame of mind where she's disturbed because he will pick up on it. And when he picks up on it, we have a tough week. Yeah. He will regress, he'll have issues, we'll have a tough week, right? Yeah. That became an issue when I was dating. Because a lot of the women I've only dated like 4 women in my life. When I had women involved in and out of my life, it became a pain point because a lot of them were like, yo, it feels like, and I used to be told this, it feels like she's the first wife. I'm wondering how, I shit you not, bro. I shit you not, Maze. That was the biggest
don't
complaint.
Like sharing.
Yo. Even when they know, like, I'm saying, like, me, it's the kids, yeah? That's a pain point. Yeah. I'm wondering how it is for you.
I would say I have not dated seriously since we broke up. She might be doing it. Uko, I don't know. You know, we're both adults, but I've not dated anyone seriously since we broke up. First, because my focus is on other things right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of the women I deal with are women who find me where I'm doing what I love. If I'm going out, if I'm painting, if I'm my hobbies and my things. It's babes that I'll find when I'm doing those things. It's not someone I'll go out and say, hey, I want to take you out. There's probably been like 2 or 3. But for the most part, I've not experienced that, cock blocking. Maybe it'll come, who knows? Maybe hapa naongea tu vizuri itakuja huko naenda kugundua unajua ndapigwa na butua huko mbele. But I've not really tried dating seriously. Like there's been on and off things, but I wouldn't say like I've dated anyone seriously in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Tangentially, you do know I had a chick who used to compare me to you.
Really?
I don't mean like you had anything with her. It's just she held you as the gold standard of what a guy should be.
I hope she's not a hater because I told you my haters now are the women who used to tell their boyfriends, be like him. No, when you tell a boyfriend, be like him, and he's broken up with his mama, now it's a what? Don't be like him. And then it's the dudes who used to be compared to me that, you know, fine, now they have a chance to fight back. You know? Bro. Toka kabisa. Kwenda kabisa. Kwenda kabisa, we don't care.
Is this your king?
Is this your king? You know, but you know, it's just life. You know, I think as young people, especially being a young parent, a lot of us are young parents. With the changing times and the way things are flaky nowadays, you know, I think social media has really also ruined a lot of the things that we used to see with our folks. And, you know, the way babes keep saying, I hear this a lot from women, especially women who feel like they're empowered. They keep saying, you know, we are not our mothers. We won't sit back and keep quiet. And I always say, you know, even us, we're not our fathers, bro. Those times when we used to provide and just deal with nonsense. Non-stop. Zimeisha, mi bro kini stress na songa. Kama tunaenda na upepo. Like I'm at a place where I pick my problems. I pick my problems. And I would never welcome someone into my life just to stress me. You know, if I was doing well without you, why am I bringing you into my life so you can be a bother? You know what I mean? Like I have the power to say, like, Ishia, you know, I'm not breaking up with the kids. It's you. Wenda Oji, go figure yourself out. And if someone else finds you and they like you the way you are, pigane uko kama mende, all the best. You know, like you see, good things are fought for. You know, if you have a good thing, you fight for a good thing. Yeah. And if someone can say, we share, you know, squeezing a semangaji, you know, and I don't know if it's the same for everyone. Like, if you leave a bad place and you move on and you see people enthusiastic about going where you left, you don't warn them. You let them learn through experience. Sasa kwambia ati bro usiende hapo manzi, hapo kuna floni hot utaungua. Unless you think you're smarter than me, go learn through experience. You know, it's like the way you watch kiddos when they're climbing up a wall and you're like, don't tell the kiddo they'll fall down.
No.
You know, at some point, that's what I was thinking. I was just saying Batman rapping.
Yeah, please, you think I'm dumb? You go find out for yourself.
Okay. So this, you know, co-parenting is a journey.
Yes, it is.
And at any point in your journey, have you felt overwhelmed? Have you felt like doubting your decision to leave and now do this co-parenting thing?
I did. And you see sometimes when you start doubting your abilities as a parent, it's when you feel like your ability to provide is being affected. Your ability to protect is being affected because now you're not with your kiddos every day like you used to. You're missing milestones. You're not there every day. And it gets to a point, like I remember, like fresh during the breakup, I sent a message like, hey, we had something good going. Hopefully we can mend it. And, you know, but then I quickly snapped out. I was sending the text. I was like, yo, niko na wewe juu ya M-Pesa. Like, Z. You know, if you were a person to mend things, you would have mended it the first time. You would have made it work the first time. But what you've shown me is enough for me to realize that's not the type of person you are. We've gotten here because you've not learned through your experiences. And I have. This experience has taught me something about myself. You know, sometimes people are always told, you know, there's only so much growth you can achieve as an individual. Sometimes it takes you to live with someone who sees you every day to know more about yourself. Because then you have patterns and you have things you do that you don't realize, hey, like this thing is affecting your life this way. So sometimes you need to actually be in a relationship to learn who you are fully. Because this person is going to come to you. When they love you, you know, there's that, it's new. They'll tell you this, and that. And then later on, when that love dies, because love will always die, it's never going to be a constant high. You start realizing, hey, this is what I've learned about myself. This is what you told me about me. This is what I know now about me. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of sacrifices have you made for your child's well-being?
In co-parenting.
Yeah, in co-parenting.
I mean, I paid school fees and I furnished the house instead of buying a car to me.
Futsubishi inakuuma.
At this point in time. You see, the thing is, sometimes I jav. Like a few times I jav. Just to, ani hapa tu, zinaenda tu hapa. Most times I Uber.
Hey.
To work, from work. To the dunda, from the dunda.
Yay.
So that cost.
Yeah.
So I calculate my cost. I'm like, hata mimi najaribu.
You are a better man.
But I keep telling myself, unaona, the way I've said, usipunguze maisha, ongeza pesa. So that Uber cost to me, although it dents my pocket sometimes, I'm like, this is how I move like 30 days in a month. Can you really take care of a motive if you can't take care of this?
Yeah.
So those are the things that are now making me more entrepreneurial. Unajua kujituma. Unaangalianga bills zingine hivi on the 20th. Unaangalia bank account, unajiambia, bro, you're making a lot, you're making enough, but you still need some more. You need to do this and this and that and that. And so those are the things that are now making me think beyond, hey, long term. Unataka kudu nini long term? And how are you going to sustain a lifestyle once you achieve it? And those are the things that I started thinking of those things even during the relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
something occurred to me. You're those guys who pay for babes Uber.
Sometimes. Sometimes. It's a mini experience. I'm the experience. So, like I said, you make sacrifices. You learn through your sacrifice. I don't think there's any learning that comes when you don't make sacrifices. To nyima yourself something or to spend your time or your money on something so that you can learn.
Even there's no growth outside of pain.
Yeah, there's no growth. And for a lot of men, I think we only get jerked into who we are supposed to be or the next phase of manhood once you go through something. And it's mostly, it doesn't have to be something you cause. It's just things that are, the things that are happening around you. Those are the things that actually catalyze you into the next phase of who you should be. Yeah.
And you've just brought up something that I did want to ask. What are the lessons that you've learned? What are the...
Well,
would you do this again, number one? But what are the lessons that you've learned?
I've learned that, I used to be very confident in myself and my ability. And on many occasions, strong, powerful women would never intimidate me. I've learned how much power I should give women in my life.
Okay.
Like in terms of just being comfortable with, like, you want to take the lead on this, take it. Because there's one thing women who love control do. Women who love to be in control will take on responsibilities. They'll take on things that you can do and then complain about why you don't.
You're not do them.
Why you don't do them.
Thank you.
I'm like, when you met me, I was living alone. I was running a whole household by myself.
I was happy sleeping on the floor.
I was happy. I wasn't on the floor, but I had a fully furnished house. I was doing my thing. That thing that attracted you to me. Once you see, like, you're attracted to who I am. Then once you get me, you start changing who I am.
Yes,
and then now, start looking at me and you're no longer the man I desire. Exactly. Who told you to change me?
Yeah.
Who told you? I was me then. Now I'm a version of me and your tricks. Everyone has a tune moti. You've tuned your Subaru so it can move faster. Now you've tuned me and you hate that I'm moving fast. That's your problem. It's not my problem. Me, I can always go back to my stock settings. Nilikuja stock niko hivi, and that's what I went back to. Even if you look at, because a lot of people go through breakups and they just disappear. Me, but then through my breakup on social media, I was taking the heat. I'm like, you guys, you see me responding to people. Sometimes people assume that when you respond to guys on social media, you care about what they think. No, I don't care about what you think. I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't need to care about you to have a conversation with you.
Sometimes I'm just high. I have nothing to do. I'm basking in the glow of my high. So let's do this.
So for me, that was one of my biggest lessons. Like, there's just things you don't outsource. There's just things you cannot outsource to someone else.
I like that, because ultimately, you cannot outsource fatherhood.
You can't. I can't outsource fatherhood to another man. I can't outsource fatherhood to her. So that's going to be me taking leadership on that. In my next dating phase, I'm not going to let a babe control things that I know. If you tell me you want to handle this, don't complain about it when it becomes overwhelming. Because you told me you could handle it.
Okay.
So I'm going to have those conversations you need to have before. So those are the conversations I'm going to have before. See, easy, please. See, nikiingia room, please. Usianze kelele uko mbele. And that's one of the things actually, with my ex, I remember when we were in Nairobi, just almost about to move, because it's not like our problems just started out of nowhere. I told her one of my biggest fears is that we'll move to a bigger house so that we have enough space to stay away from each other when we're fighting. That was one of my fears. So I used to always tell her, and if you see some of the deleted videos, even some of the lies, and she used to admit it as well, like, me, I always used to tell her, listen, I don't like being a bad vibe. If you were happier before you met me, and if you were doing better before you met me, sure. Or let me go. When I'm still young, when I can still land a babe that, I can build a life with. Just let me go. Because it's, we're not coerced into this relationship. There's nobody who's forcing us to be here.
Let me ask you a question. This is going to be tangential for what we're discussing. Was she older than you?
By a year.
Only?
Yeah.
But you see,
We don't date older women.
There are some people who feel even being older than you by 6 months means they're more mature than you, they're more experienced than you.
To me, maturity is practical. I like saying maturity comes with a higher EQ. If emotionally you're smart, maturity comes to you faster. So there's a lot of higher IQ, low EQ people walking around. They'll blow you off your mind with the stuff they say, how they speak, how they carry themselves. And then you start dating them, you realize, okay, this is why you are single.
You said something that someone once said to me. High IQ, low EQ.
You're very smart here, but Harper, you're like you're a 6-year-old in the heart. And this is something that's common with a lot of there's a lot of children living inside
a lot of people,
a lot of injured or damaged children.
Traumatized. There's a lot of traumatized kids living inside adults, and you really don't get to see that child until you expose these guys to their triggers. And a lot of them do not communicate their triggers until it's too late.
Some of them don't even know.
They don't even know. You don't even know your triggers. You're running away from your traumas as a child. You're not addressing things so that you can move on and be complete as a person. And so your patterns,
they keep on repeating themselves.
It's a covert contract, because like you said, you're running away from your trauma without informing the person that you're running to of your trauma. Sometimes you don't even know that you have that trauma. And unfortunately, it becomes a bomb that this person is holding, because it's just a matter of time. And when it explodes, because at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you should have known this. You're getting. And this person does not realize that was the case. So when it blows up,
when it blows up, it affects people. So you end up creating the kids you are. A lot of adults end up doing that. You are traumatized as a child.
And then you recreate the trauma.
You suppressed a lot of the trauma. You've never addressed it over the years. You grow up, you think you're a complete person. You have kids, and then the trauma start coming out when you're living with someone. And then inadvertently, what you end up doing is you create the kids you are.
And sometimes the traumas come from, that you impart on your children, they come from you trying to almost protect them from that which you experience without realizing that. By doing so, you're pushing them closer and closer to that which you experienced.
Yeah.
No,
I can give my example, but you know.
No, it's fine. I was actually going to go to that question. The protect part.
Yeah.
I think a big part of being a parent is protecting your children, not just from outside threats. I mean, there's
All
a
threats.
lot, all threats.
Yeah.
What if the threat is yourself? How are you protecting your child from being affected by this part where you're now co-parent? The split and the
I think
yeah.
I think the more important question would be, you really need to move around with a copious amount of self-awareness. And you have to be, you can lie to everyone except yourself. So you have to be aware of the things you're doing. And to me, I've learned to appreciate people who have the ability to self-reflect on their actions, and guys who can call themselves out.
Of the bullshit,
You have the ability to self-reflect on your actions. You have the ability to call yourself out, and you have the capacity to think about what you're doing and how it's affecting everyone around you. Because a lot of people don't have that capacity. They don't have that ability. You just move and then it happens. It's, it's the normal. Yeah, everyone has one dad. Everyone has one. Everyone's, nowadays people don't get.
And then it gets to a point where it's like everyone has that kiddo.
Yeah.
Kila mtu akona mtoi mwenye
Kila mtu, because you don't have the capacity, you don't have the ability to self-reflect, and you can't really process how your actions are affecting everyone around you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's lighter note. So one, we talked about deadbeats a bit earlier before. Yeah. So women, there was this time when there was deadbeat Kenya. Yeah. I never knew what it was about, but I remember it was a big thing online.
Yeah.
So one, how would women define a deadbeat versus how men define a deadbeat? And two, as men who are actively parenting, what would you tell the deadbeats?
First off, you never advise deadbeats.
You never advise
I mean, when you advise someone who walked away from their own seed, what
are you talking about?
Are you God? You never advise deadbeats. Secondly,
that is someone who knows no shame.
They have no shame. This is a person and they have no shame, there's no responsibility. Sema tu, maisha ni mimi na ni mimi peke yangu. You see, the thing with deadbeats is, and you see, deadbeats are hard to understand because they might be a deadbeat to that kiddo and then they're taking care of another one,
Excellent.
But sometimes the thing is, I didn't want this child.
That's another
I didn't want this child. I communicated I didn't want this child.
Yeah. So that's why I keep telling babes nowadays, the minute you get pregnant for anyone, just know, even if this guy says they'll take responsibility, hapo mbele akichange mind yake, you have to take care of that child. Just always assume you're a single mom, even if you have a man in your life, even if you have a husband. Because if this nigga can change, this guy can change his mind anytime. No, utacha mtoi, utakuwa deadbeat pia. You can't.
Okay, no.
You can't. Sindio? So you have to figure out, how is this child going to survive? Are they going? The fact that a man can actually come back and say, I'm going to take care of my child, it's supposed to be common sense, but common sense isn't common.
It's not so common.
Yeah. Lastly, you asked about advice. I can't advise.
You can't advise that. No, but
yeah, I can't.
What would you say? Because I remember the reason why I'm bringing it up is I remember on that deadbeat Kenya, the people were being posted because they're like, hatumi pesa. And then the person is like, fine, situmi pesa, but I'm not absent. I'm still there, even without the monetary contribution. Why are you labeling me a deadbeat?
You see, the thing about being a deadbeat is it's like an onion topic. You can be a deadbeat for so many reasons. One, it could be mtoi ndio bad vibes. At the top of that list, mtoi ndio bad vibes. Unacheki?
Oh my God, okay.
On the top of that list is like mtoi ndio bad vibes. Why would I parent a bad vibe? You, man. So, kids. Secondly, it could be the mother doesn't want you to see the child without seeing her. We had those situations where, like, if you walk away from me,
you don't see your
you
kids.
don't have access to the child. All right. Lastly, it could be maisha imekutuanga tu. Me, I keep telling babes, like, watch the people you fuck raw. Because if you're smashing a homie I buy beers for, alafu kuja kuniambia ati you're pregnant and you want this nigga take care of you, this nigga can't even take care of himself. Wewe alikuingizaje box? So if all in your box unafikira mimi si pia mimi nimeingizwa box. If this deadbeat guy is lying to you, he's also lying to all of us. When you think the line, when you think you're the unique one. Me, probably I didn't even know he has a toy. So if all in his box, ukapeana mimba ukaibeba mpaka 9 months na umse. What makes you think that guy can't lie to his homies? Well, muliona na uchi. Eje ailala, like he's never cuddled with his homies mpaka akaeka mjulus kwa butt crack ya homies. Naongea tu hapo man nonsense. So amekuingiza box mpaka ukachukua mtoi, you carry that kiddo for 9 months. What makes you think that nigga can't lie to me? Si hata mimi nimeingizwa box, yeye amekuingiza ukakuwa ile girlfriend. Mimi nimeingizwa as a friend.
As a friend.
He's probably telling me how you're the bad vibe person. No one amsumbua. So me have no way of proving that this guy is actually a villain. Me, when I'm with him, I'm not with him as like right now, me and Chim are not sitting here as fathers. We're sitting as homies. Miss Julie to my door last week. You see, and I won't ask because we're here for what brought us here. We're here to create content. Sometimes we're just there to watch football. So at sasa me, Bruno Fernandes afunge ball. By the way, have you taken? That's pure nonsense. That's pure nonsense.
The Bruno Fernandes scoring, eh?
Yeah. It's out of form. It's out of form. But it's pure nonsense. Because me, when I link up with my homies, we're linking up with... We know, like, men don't hang out like babes.
Yeah.
But let's just hang out. As guys, like, tunapiga bills, tuna watch ball, ama tunafanya kitu. We are all interested in. Now, in those moments, we might catch up with each other. Like, hey, how's life? How's the toys? Housing? But if I don't know you have a kiddo, me naza kuuliza stories za watoi. And if I find out you're a deadbeat, you're not taking care of your kiddos, me I'll just tell you, hey bro, manze, tell me how I can help you. See, the thing is, women want us to
push you,
to push you away. Women expect us to push our deadbeat friends away. Well, to me as a guy, to me as a man, my number one objective should be, how can I help you become a dad? Maybe your problem is you don't have money. So when I link up with you, when you ambie, bro, niko na ebis, tunachapa. If I empower you to be a better man, you become a better father. So me walking away from you is not a solution. And that's what a lot of women...
Yeah, they expect you to hold your deadbeat friends accountable.
Even some niggas are deadbeats with their kiddos. Nana nisaidia kulipa rent. Neza enda nimwambie msehe, nimesota. Nana nisaidia.
Okay. We're out of time, unfortunately, as fun as this conversation has been. Thank you so much for your time, Ramzzy.
Thank you.
As always, this is the Crib Sheet. Thank you for joining us and tuning for more next time.